Again, I would like to welcome everybody. It's really great to see such a nice group because I think that this is a very, very important conversation to have. And our speaker tonight is, and I'm probably going to ruin her name, Malena Clark. I'm real excited to be able to give her this opportunity because she was the architect of, maybe the whole architect of what she's going to explain. And she's an intern. I believe there are 3 interns that AAUW California has had this year for the public policy. She's one of 3, and she has joined the California online branch recently. So we welcome you for that also. So now I would like to introduce her and say that she is a student at Long Beach State. Other than that, I don't know anything about her.
Yeah, we only met today. Well, thank you so much for the warm introduction. I am Malena Clark. I am one of the 3 AAUW California public policy interns. And as you said, I'm a recent online branch member. And I'm planning on continuing working with AAUW California in a couple different ways as well. One of which is to maintain this project that I've been working on. So in our internship, we each got to have a main project that we were a part of. And then we also participated in the lobby work in Sacramento, and we did some other things, and that was really amazing and empowering, and we all loved it. Anyway, so my big project that I worked on, which was mainly worked on by me and Missy, was a take action page. So basically, we felt that there's a lot of people that have a lot of feelings and they want to get something done, but they don't know where to start. And there's so many resources that it can be really overwhelming because you don't know which ones are good, which ones are helpful, and then it's just too much and you don't even do anything. And then you get frustrated anyway, and then it's a spiral, right? And that's not good for anyone. So one of the projects we worked on this year was to make a resource page that has like a compilation of a bunch of resources for different issues. So I'm going to share my screen and show you guys around. So this is the resource page. So right at the top, we have our main situation. This is a little synopsis of what this is and what we're working on and why we are able to talk about it, how it relates to the AAUW public policy priorities. And then right underneath here, we have some quick links. So we have actionable items and then litigation and legislation trackers, podcasts, and then these are some things that are going to be coming in the future. So we're going to have like a spot for good things, so just things that are nice to boost morale, and then we're going to have links to the letters of opposition and letters of support for the bills that we're talking about for AAUW California. And then under here, we have these are our main issue areas. And so here we have like a climate change issue, we have DEI, disparity in healthcare, First Amendment issues and censorship, immigration and DACA protections, LGBTQ plus protections, public education, and democratic rules and norms. So these are going to be the main sources for our resources. And then under here, we have a couple other things like successful collection action spotlight, legal challenges spotlight, call to action spotlight, and then some frequently asked questions. So this is like the homepage, almost like the homepage of a website. So this is where everything is easy to find. However, it doesn't have any of the real stuff. So let's say we want to look into climate action. So we're going to click here, and it's going to take us to a new page. Here we have what this page is about, a little bit about the issue. In bold, we have why we're allowed to talk about it. So basically how it relates to the AAUW California public policy priorities. And then we have a list of resources. And so we have many resources going with rows. And here we have a link to the resources main page. So this is Earth Day. So this is going to take us to the main homepage of Earth Day. And then when we come back, it's a little synopsis of what this page is about. This is going to be a link to the About Us section. I find this to be extremely important when you're talking about resources. You got to know who's giving the resource. It's all about context. And then what you can do, because sometimes it's hard to know what to do. And then we have some important links and resources. So here is the take action page for Earth Day. It's going to send us straight to something we can do, make your voice count. So these are all easy, actionable things and easy ways to find it. And then we also have some other links like end plastics, power stuff, and regenerative agriculture. And then we have a bunch of other resources for the same issue. And if we want to go back, we can just click this back page and we're back here. And then let's check out another one. This one's the disparity in healthcare. So again, we have a list of resources, what they're about, these are the About Us pages, and then these are some important links. So these are some really the good spot to go to. And then if you take a look here, a lot of these have a take action page, which is fantastic. That's the most actionable item that we can do. But it's kind of hard to find all of the take action pages across these different issues. So when we come back up here into the quick links, we have quick actionable items. So let's say you're in a rush and you just want to get something done and feel like you have like 30 minutes to do something. This is the best spot to start. And so here we have the resource. And then again, we would have the About Us page, a synopsis of just what's the issue about. And then you can go back to the other ones to do more research into that. And then here is a direct link to the take action page for each of these resources. And so this is just a big list of easy to find take action pages. And then we can come back here again and we have a litigation and legislation tracker. So we'll check this out. These are a couple legislation trackers. So we have the Resist Bot, we have Just Security, Lawfare, ACLU. So these are all just links to different litigation and legislation trackers, which is really helpful to find if we're wanting to stay up to date on the legislation that we're talking about. And then lastly, we just have a little podcast section. So these are some fun podcasts that we like. This one is fantastic, The Daily Beans. I've been really enjoying that. Missy recommended that to me. It's fantastic. They've released daily podcasts talking about what's happening in the US. And so again, we have resource and the source. And so that is the main gist of this. It is mainly used on the computer. Right now, we're working on getting it to be able to be used on the phone better. But for now, using it on the computer is your best bet. And for the most part, if you want to find something, you just click on it, and then there's like a link, and then you get sent there. So you click on it, and then you get a link. And then sometimes you'll end up with a bunch of stuff, but it's all good stuff. So this is the take action page. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions or anything? Seems like maybe not. So this is like a living document. Okay, well, I'll get to those in just a second. So this is a living document, meaning that I'm going to be continuously updating it. And so that's one of the things I'll be doing outside of this. So we're always looking for more resources, and we're going to start sending out a Google form for resources. So it's basically a way to get it. So if one of you guys has a resource that you think should be on here, you send it to that Google form, and then we put it on there yet. We haven't made that yet, but that's coming. But as a way to keep making it bigger and bigger. And then I will continue to go in and make sure all the links are working. Okay, let's start with Marianne.
Yeah, I just wondered, it might be fun to have a bragging spot on this where, it could be headed, I took action, and someone
Yeah.
could write a little, a limited amount of words on what they did.
Yeah,
So,
so we have this section over here that we're thinking about adding, which is going to be good things. So it'll be somewhat similar to that. So it's going
okay.
to be like positive things that like the AAUW has done or other organizations have done. We're hesitant on opening it up to being edited by the community because that's how things get messy really quickly.
Right.
However, I do like the idea of having the actual AAUW members be able to add what they've done and have like a bragging right. So I'll start thinking about how we can do that and maybe implement it in future versions. I like that idea. Okay, Georgia.
Yes, you are talking very fast, and it's
Oh,
hard for me to
sorry.
keep up. You're like those newscasters on TV. Could, and it would be helpful for me to understand if you would take one issue and walk through it through the
Yeah,
entire sheet.
definitely. Okay, we'll come back to
Slow down.
okay. So this is the climate action page. So we're just going to click here and then click on the link right underneath it that pops up. And then when we come here, it's going to have the name of the action or the name of the issue. And then in here is a synopsis of the issue. And then in bold, we have why we're allowed to talk about it based off of the AAUW public policy, California public policy priorities. And then here we have a list of the resources with links to the homepage. So again, here's the homepage for Earth Day. Here's the homepage for the United Nations. And then we have a little synopsis of what it is. So what is this resource? And then we have a link to the About Us page for each of these resources, because that's very important. You got to know who's telling you stuff. Then this is a little just easy, like, what do I do? You look here, you can look into stuff and it tells you, it guides you a little bit. And then these are the good links in each of these resources. So you don't have to go looking for them yourself. I already went and found a bunch of good links. And so these are going to take you to different aspects of these resources that are maybe interesting or important. Or like in the global goals, we have a take action page. So that would be a good place to start if you're wanting to do something. And so when we come back here, we have many different resources, and I will be continuing to add resources as we go, and update it and make sure that each of these are still working. And yeah, and so when we want to go back, we just again click on the back homepage, and we're back here. And then again, this is the link to the actionable items. And so these are just the take action links, and then the resource and who they are. So this is if you're wanting to go a little faster and you don't need all the information. And then we're back here. Okay, Peg, what's your question?
Actually, my question is, I think this is the same thing that's been highlighted in the public policy newsletter.
Yes, it was.
And can you confirm that there will be a link off the AAUW California page to
Yes,
this?
there is a link and it is active. Yeah.
The link that was
yeah.
in the AAUW California online announcing this in that newsletter along with May 10th, that link doesn't work, by the way. I tried it today.
That is good to know.
So, but
I will let someone know.
It seems that the best place to go would be the AAUW California
public policy. Yes.
Public policy page. And then you can do some exploring on your own, right? And see what's there.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be open to everyone, and it's active on the public policy page. I did not check the online branch when it announced it, but I do know that it is working as of last week on the Public Policy California page. And it's pretty prominent on the website. It's right when you get in there. It says take action now, and then you click that and you'll be sent here. Yeah.
And I imagine that if we ended up opening up editing, it might be good for you to have a Google form for people to submit their edits, because I don't know about you, but I need editing when I submit something.
Yes. Yeah. So we're not going to open it up to the public for editing because that's how things get messy. But we are working on having there be a Google form for any comments, questions, or added resources. So we're working on having that. So that it can be more of a cooperative thing, but we're hesitant to open it up fully to the public because it can get messy kind of quickly. Yeah. Not just visually, it can kind of get crazy sometimes when there's a lot of people working on it. Do you have any more questions? Seems like no. Okay, Mary.
Yeah. Yes, Mary Pat.
Yes, Mary Pat.
Thank you. I have a couple of different questions. Let me just state them both and then take them as you wish. If I understand you correctly, you've chosen these categories because they're consistent with AAUW California's priorities.
Yes.
But I wonder if there could be a way also to put in somehow references to Project 25, because
yes.
I think it would be really important. If I understand this is a very limited set of priorities, we all have to limit our priorities or it doesn't make sense. And Project 25 is much more, heaven help us, comprehensive, but it would be useful, I think, to be able to reference that. Okay, that's one thing. Okay. The other thing is a simple question. I'm interested in knowing what you have under democratic rules and norms.
Yes, let me see. Democratic rules and norms.
And so that's small d democratic, right?
I'm sure.
Yes, should I? Yeah.
Well, we're a democratic country.
Yes. Yeah. This is one of the pages that was done predominantly by Missy. So she found these resources and then I organized it. So this is the page, and she also wrote this. Yeah.
Oh.
So this is what we have so far, but
Nice.
again, we're continuously adding to it.
Okay.
This is one of our newer pages though.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Hold
So
on, let me
back to
turn on the light
project
right now.
2025.
It got dark all of a sudden. Okay. Yeah, so here we are. And did you have any more questions?
No, but I still am interested in hearing what you have to say about cross-referencing project 2025.
I would have to check in with Missy and Amy since I'm relatively new into the what we can and what we cannot talk about aspects of it. So I would have to check with them if we can do any more direct references to that project. But I think it would be interesting if we would be able to. We're trying to kind of push as far as we can without becoming partisan, because it's important to make sure that we stay bipartisan. Uh, but then again, these issues go directly against our public priorities. So that's why we're able to talk about it, and that's why in our pages we have a direct reference to why we are able to talk about it, because we want to make sure that we maintain our bipartisan standing. Okay. Yeah. Is there anything else, Mary?
Carrie?
Okay, Carrie.
Hey there. It was a great presentation, Malena.
Thank you.
It's really interesting material. And I'm on the public policy team for Walla Walla, Washington branch. And we've been looking into a lot of this. And just following on what you were talking about, the last questions you had from Mary Pat, under democratic rules and norms, we were looking at I think it's Center for American Progress has a lot of information on Project 2025. They did a whole write-up on, and they dissected it and tried to map it to areas that of concern. So one thing I was wondering, because you might have it here, but I didn't see it as readily apparent. Maybe a column that just says what mission area does it reference? Like on the mission statement for AAUW National. And maybe maybe California is slightly different, but we all kind of align with, national. Because that might be a good reminder, because I don't know about you all, but we are constantly threading the needle between, advocacy and activism. So just being able to tie it back to the core mission statement, like, is it, pay equity? Is it higher education access? Is it, what does this tie to? Might be helpful.
Right now we have it kind of in the bold section right here, but I could try to make it so that it's more apparent so that on greater terms. So this was kind of our response to this is why we can talk about it.
I see. Okay.
We have that in each of these
so it's
areas.
More of the main statement rather than
so we have
where it points to.
Yeah, and we can look into ways to making it so it has its own row so it can be a little bit more visually apparent. But in these, we have the non-bold is what the issue is, and then the bold is why we're allowed to talk about it.
Gotcha.
If you'd like to read one of them, just so that we get the flavor of it, because it's so small, we can't read it.
Yeah. Okay. Which one do you guys want to read? Do you guys have a preference? Should we do climate action?
How about DEI?
Let's do
We
DEI.
haven't touched DEI yet, so we can see
Immigration.
Yeah, we can also do that one. Okay, so there has been a rise in attacks on diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI, initiatives in recent months. The Trump administration has issued an executive order targeting DEI programs across federal agencies. Several states like Colorado and Iowa have enacted laws that eliminate DEI policies at universities and penalize private colleges with such programs. Corporations are also feeling pressure, with some facing boycotts led by predominant figures. Legal challenges continue, with some firms defending their DEI programs in court. This makes the a critical moment for DEI with significant political and social implications. And then in bold, we have AAUW California is an organization whose core mission and values drive us to advance far and equitable opportunities for all in a diverse society. Our public policy priorities are shaped by this directive. This cannot be achieved without also striving to create greater inclusion, such as our public policy priorities align with the goal of diversity, equity, and inclusion, as does all of our legislative activism. And so that is a little synopsis on what the issue is, and then why we believe we're allowed to talk about it. And then we have some resources.
And could you
May
talk?
I ask,
Go
may
ahead.
I ask, Sharon? Sharon, you put some links in the chat. Would you please talk about those?
Sure. I just put the first one as a direct link to this document on our website.
Perfect.
The second one is a link to an article in the public policy newsletter from, I think it was January, about Project 2025. It lists some specific action items for us. And then the third one is a link to a webinar that we did in October 2024 about Project 2025.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Malena, could you also talk about some actual actions that you're suggesting here so that we can understand what actions you're talking about?
Yeah, so when we look at this page, this is going to be our easy action items. So the first one is the AAUW California Resist bot. So that's like a text bot that will make it really easy to sign petitions. So if you click here, it'll take you to where you can sign up to follow AAUW California. So when we're here, we can actually click here and then sign a petition. And this is our little synopsis on it. And then here's the petition. And then we can go back and we can see some other ones. So you can follow AAUW California directly from this link. And then here are a bunch of petitions that have been promoted by AAUW California. And then when we come back here, we'll look for the ACLU. So this is going to talk about immigration, LGBTQ plus rights, public education, and healthcare. And so we'll click on the Take Action page. And so this is the Take Action page for the ACLU. So we can send a message, we can sign up for volunteer opportunities, and then here are some digital take actions. So these are some message things that we can do. So it's, again, similar to petitioning, where they'll help contact with stuff. And then there's a donation thing, which a lot of places will have. And then here's reproductive freedom for all. And we'll click on their take action page. And oh my gosh. Okay. And then we click this take action thing. And then here we are getting signed up to do some petition. And then here are a bunch of other actionable items. And then here's take local actions, petitions to sign, and getting involved. And then you can contact lawmakers. So it's just a resource that helps you find other resources. So it's going to help you find other take action pages. And we have a bunch of different ones. So this one's about First Amendment, LGBTQ protections, climate change, and lots of different kinds of things. Yeah.
Malena, when you said California, doesn't most of that go to the federal issues rather than anything in California?
When we're talking about Resist Spot?
Right.
I'm not sure. I know some of the ones that I've done have been in California, but I'm sure these are all saying state. This is to the US Senate. So some of them are out of state and they are federal level, but a decent amount of these are California state specifics. I don't know if any of the other AAUW branches have resist bots, but if you guys end up making them or do have them, I would love to get that resource so I can add it into here so that we can make it more broad. So this is more designed to be for California, unfortunately, because that's the group that I was working with. But I would love to make it be more federal level and make it be more accessible to people outside of California, because that would be amazing. All right, are there any more questions? Seems like maybe not. Amazing. Okay, so that was the resource page. I believe somebody sent it in the chat, so if you guys want to go check it out, it's there. It's also on the AAUW public policy page for California. And it's pretty easy to find there. So that's pretty nice. And just a reminder, this is still going to be continuously updated. More resources will be given. And hopefully in the future, we will be sending out a Google form to get more resources from other people. But that's where we are at right now. And if no one has any more questions, then I can turn it back to all of you guys.